What's happening with Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland is bigger than a quarterback battle. It's starting to look like a full-blown scandal, the kind that doesn't make headlines for off-field drama, but for what's being hidden in plain sight. This is the type of slow-burn sabotage that derails promising careers not because of talent, but because of ego, politics, and the unspoken rules of the power structure. Shedeur's not just competing, he's excelling, commanding attention in practice with poise, precision, and leadership. Yet somehow, he's still being treated like an afterthought. If you're interested in the truth behind the depth chart and the story they won't tell on Sunday broadcasts, this is where it begins. If you're sticking around to watch this Browns QB chaos unfold, hit that subscribe button because it's no longer just whispers behind closed doors. After going viral again this week with another lights-out practice, Shedeur Sanders has officially blown the lid off what can only be called the Browns' secret. He's out there dropping dimes, leading drills, outperforming every other QB on the field, and somehow, he's still buried as the emergency option. Emergency, as in break glass only if the stadium catches fire. Well, the stadium is on fire, and the Browns are just standing there, holding the extinguisher like it's a prop. Let's be clear, Shedeur Sanders isn't just showing flashes, he's putting on a clinic. We're talking starter-level command, composure under pressure, sharp mechanics, and decision-making that screams NFL ready. Every rep looks less like potential and more like proof. And yet, the Browns keep giving real snaps to quarterbacks who can't move the chains, while Shedeur runs solo drills like he's just lucky to be there. It's not just frustrating, it's downright embarrassing. The fans, the media, the locker room, even rival scouts are probably wondering if Cleveland is seriously doing this again. And the worst part? This isn't about readiness. It's about ego, stubbornness, and a front office that might be too proud to admit the future is already on the roster. We've seen this movie before, too many times. Cleveland's quarterback graveyard is legendary at this point. Year after year, raw talent gets misread, mishandled, or completely wasted because someone in power can't see past their own ego. And now, it looks like Shedeur Sanders is being written into the next chapter of that curse. But here's the thing, this isn't some unpolished rookie with a cannon arm and no control. This is Shedeur. The one with the pedigree, the production, the poise, and the pressure-tested DNA. He was calling protections by his second year at Colorado. He delivers precise strikes in stride, in traffic, in rhythm. And he's done it all under the brightest, most unforgiving spotlight. Being Deion Sanders' son isn't a privilege, it's a pressure cooker. Shedeur isn't a hype train or a PR stunt. He's a quarterback built for this league. And yet, what's Cleveland doing? Hiding him like a secret they're afraid the world might validate. Why? That's the million-dollar question, and the answers are getting uglier by the day. Because this isn't about letting the depth chart naturally play out, or some trust-the-process waiting game. That's the surface-level spin. The deeper truth? This feels like a calculated effort to preserve a narrative, protect certain investments, and keep the marketing machine humming while the real talent sits in a glass case. You think it's a coincidence that Shedeur Sanders' jersey is flying off the shelves while he's stuck running scout team snaps? The Browns know exactly what they have, but it seems like they're more interested in controlling the story than unleashing the star. You really think it's just strategy that Shedeur Sanders has been lights out in multiple practices but hasn't seen a single meaningful preseason rep? You think it's just bad luck that he's sitting behind Dillon Gabriel, a guy who, let's be honest, has struggled when the lights come on? Let's stop pretending. At this point, it's clear, either the Browns are afraid of what Shedeur's success would expose, or they never intended to give him a real shot in the first place. And that's where it gets dark. Because now, fans and media aren't just watching, they're asking the uncomfortable questions. The kind that teams hate. The kind that pull back the curtain and reveal what's really going on. Is Shedeur being buried to protect the reputations of those ahead of him? Is this a football decision or a business decision dressed in pads and cleats? Because let's be real, there is no football logic, none, that justifies treating a QB this prepared, this polished, this ready, like the backup to the backup. You watch the tape, and it's all right there: pocket presence, mid-play reads, anticipation, mobility, leadership. This isn't hype. It's not a fluke. It's what true development looks like in spite of the system, not because of it. And that's exactly the problem, the system is starting to look broken. The Browns are playing a dangerous game, balancing egos, managing media optics, and protecting financial interests, all while sitting on a gold mine at quarterback and pretending it's fool's gold. And yeah, let's talk about the Deshaun Watson elephant in the room. The second he's cleared, he walks right back into that starting job, no competition, no accountability, no pressure from the top. It's already etched in Sharpie. But here's the truth that's becoming harder to ignore: the Shedeur effect doesn't care about contracts or cap space. Fans don't care who's making what anymore, they care who's balling. And right now, that's Shedeur. As long as Shedeur Sanders keeps lighting up practices and going viral every time he steps on the field, the noise isn't going anywhere, it's only getting louder. And here's the real kicker: if Cleveland keeps suppressing him and he eventually walks, only to become a star somewhere else, the Browns won't just lose a quarterback, they'll lose credibility. Permanently. Because players talk. Agents talk. Young quarterbacks talk. And if Shedeur's story becomes a cautionary tale, proof that real talent gets buried in Cleveland so fragile egos can stay intact, good luck convincing the next rising star to trust that building. This stopped being just about Shedeur a long time ago. This is about how you treat talent. Whether you reward performance or protect politics. Whether you let the best players play or keep them benched so you don't have to admit you were wrong. And if the Browns choose the latter, Shedeur will walk, he'll thrive, and Cleveland will once again watch a superstar light it up somewhere else while asking the same old question: what could have been? So let's end on this: how many more dominant practices does Shedeur Sanders need before someone upstairs swallows their pride and hands him the keys? 5? 10? Or are we waiting until it's too late again? Do they need him to levitate mid-throw? Because from where we're standing, the fans are already sold. The film doesn't lie. The players see it. And the only ones still pretending this isn't happening are the ones most terrified of what it means if it is. So here's the real question: what do you think? Is Shedeur Sanders being used as a marketing tool while his potential gets suppressed? Should he demand a trade? And if you were a top college QB watching this play out, would you trust this franchise with your future? Drop it in the comments, because this story is far from over. Subscribe for the next chapter, because if the Browns keep playing politics instead of football, Shedeur's going to make them regret it. On someone else's team. In someone else's city. Lighting up every highlight reel Cleveland wishes they had. What started as a quarterback debate has turned into something much bigger. It's a mirror. One that's exposing every crack in the Browns organization, every bad decision, every buried talent, every sign that this franchise might care more about control than actually winning. Let's be real: Shedeur Sanders going viral isn't some accident or lucky fluke. It's the result of a young quarterback grinding day after day, despite being systematically sidelined by a team that either doesn't realize what it has or, worse, knows exactly what it has and is scared to unleash it. The latest practice clips didn't just light up social media, they set fire to the Browns' paper-thin excuses. There's Shedeur, calm and collected, firing darts into tight coverage, running the offense with authority, reading the field like he's got 6 eyes and a crystal ball. Meanwhile, the QB ahead of him is inconsistent, underwhelming, and honestly, running out of chances. But the coaching staff? They're still playing dumb, hiding behind development curves and internal evaluations, pretending like we haven't all seen the tape. Like we didn't just watch Shedeur zip a perfect 30-yard strike across his body with defenders in his face while the starter overthrew his 5th check down. This isn't a competition anymore, it's a cover-up. And now the fans aren't just asking, why isn't he playing? They're demanding answers. They're not just asking why Shedeur isn't playing anymore, they're asking what the Browns are hiding. Let's face the elephant in the room: Deshaun Watson. He's the starter. No surprise there, his massive contract practically locks him in, no matter the narrative, the results, or the ethics. He's not going anywhere. But here's where it gets messy. In their desperate effort to protect that investment and justify every dollar, the Browns are sacrificing real growth and progress. And Shedeur? He's the casualty, pushed to the sidelines, told to stay ready while being handed nothing meaningful to prepare for. But the truth is clear to everyone watching. This league isn't about who's paid the most or who can spin the best post-game stories. It's about who delivers results, who moves the chains, commands the huddle, and ignites belief in a team that's lost it. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is doing exactly that, without even playing on Sundays. You only have to watch a Cleveland practice to see the shift. When Shedeur's on the field, the energy changes. Teammates lock in tighter. The offense actually breathes again. Coaches, even the ones trying to keep a straight face, can't help but react when Shedeur makes throws that guys 10 years older still struggle to pull off. You can't fake that kind of talent, but you can bury it. And that's exactly what the Browns seem determined to do. Because admitting Shedeur's readiness means confronting some uncomfortable truths. Their QB development process is broken, their depth chart is driven more by draft politics than performance, and an undrafted rookie is outplaying their carefully chosen guys, and they don't know how to handle it. This isn't the first time an NFL team mishandled a rising star, but the Browns' approach feels almost willful. Take Dillon Gabriel, for example, drafted earlier, labeled a better fit for the system, given every benefit of the doubt. Yet, anyone watching can see the stark difference. Gabriel's play is raw, hesitant, jittery under pressure, while Shedeur is poised, composed, and efficient. Still, Gabriel gets more reps. This isn't about merit, it's about optics. Because if Shedeur leapfrogs Gabriel on the depth chart, it's not just a personnel change, it's a PR nightmare the front office desperately wants to avoid. They can't admit it, they got it wrong again. So instead, they stonewall, stall, and feed the media vague lines about gradual exposure and learning curves, all while trotting out quarterbacks who aren't showing any growth. Meanwhile, Shedeur just keeps stacking wins in practice, checking every box, but they refuse to check his name on the depth chart. And you know what makes this whole situation even more maddening? He's not complaining. No cryptic tweets, no media leaks. He's showing up, grinding, and letting his tape do the talking. And right now, that tape is screaming louder than anything coming out of Berea. That quiet professionalism, that maturity? It's exactly what teams say they want in a franchise QB. But when it's right there in front of them, working harder and outperforming expectations, the Browns treat it like a nuisance. Here's a hard truth Cleveland doesn't want to hear: if Shedeur gets fed up, decides this isn't the place for him, and his camp starts making calls, half the league will be dialing his number within 10 minutes, because quarterbacks like this don't stay hidden for long. They either rise where they are or they rise somewhere else. And let's be real, if Shedeur walks and becomes a star in New York, Atlanta, Denver, or anywhere else, the Browns will have only themselves to blame. Not because he wasn't good enough, but because they were too proud to admit they had something special they didn't plan for. When that happens, there's no fixing it, no walking it back, no spin in a press conference. It becomes their legacy, the team that lost Shedeur Sanders because they were too scared to play him. Here's the reality check. The Browns can keep pretending this is all under control, or they can start making decisions that reflect what everyone else already sees. They can give Shedeur reps that actually matter. Treat him like the quarterback he is, not a side character in someone else's script. Stop using his name to sell jerseys while denying him a real shot to lead. Or they can keep hoping this fire burns out. Spoiler alert, it won't. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't a flash in the pan. He's the real deal. He's not just a viral moment, he's a problem. A problem for defenses, for narratives, and now for the people still pretending he isn't the most exciting thing to happen to Cleveland football in years. You want to call this a quarterback controversy? It's not. It's a cover-up, a blatant talent suppression experiment happening in broad daylight, with Shedeur Sanders stuck in the middle like some sacrificial marketing pawn. And here's the wildest part: everyone sees it except the people running the Browns. Shedeur lights up every opportunity, receivers love him, teammates trust him, coaches notice even if they won't admit it, and fans are obsessed, with social media exploding every time his name drops. Yet, he's still treated like he's just grateful to be there. Let's be clear, Shedeur didn't come to Cleveland to wear a headset or star in a vanity campaign. He's not just Deion's son playing out a storyline. This is a guy who left a legacy at Colorado, entered the NFL with purpose, and walked into a franchise that on paper should have been the perfect place to build something. Instead, the Browns are hiding that talent behind politics, pecking orders, and paycheck-driven decisions. Now the cracks are showing. Media insiders are saying what they wouldn't dare just weeks ago. Local radio analysts are openly calling out the coaching staff for protecting their chosen players while ignoring the quarterback actually producing in practice. Even former players are weighing in. One unnamed veteran recently set off the record. If this were about football, Shedeur would have been taking first-team reps 2 weeks ago. And that's the bottom line, isn't it? This should be about football. Instead, it's about fear of being wrong, fear of disrupting the plan, fear that the rookie nobody expected to matter might actually be better than everyone else. Because think about the ripple effect. If Shedeur really rises, the Browns would have to admit Dillon Gabriel, their big investment, might not be the guy. They'd have to rethink their backup plan behind Deshaun Watson, possibly reshuffle the whole quarterback room, and blow up their carefully curated offseason narrative. Worst of all, they'd have to admit that talent sometimes shows up where you least expect it, and that draft boards, contracts, and press releases can mean absolutely nothing. Instead of owning the situation, the Browns are limiting Shedeur's snaps, sliding him into drills late, and giving him just enough to keep the buzz alive without actually letting him force their hand. It's like they're feeding the fire just enough oxygen to keep it from dying, while secretly hoping it doesn't burn the house down. But here's the thing, it's already spreading. Other teams are watching. Agents are watching. This isn't just about one quarterback in one city anymore, it's about how the entire league handles talent that comes packaged outside the approved system. You think young quarterbacks across the country aren't paying attention and wondering, if this can happen to Shedeur, what would happen to me? Colleges will start warning their players about Cleveland's situation. And if he leaves, whether at the end of the season, mid-year via trade, or simply fades into a franchise that actually knows how to value talent, he'll thrive. That's the hard truth no one wants to admit. Shedeur Sanders isn't going anywhere. His arm won't forget how to deliver precision passes, his football IQ won't disappear. And his leadership isn't just a phase. The only thing that might change is the jersey he wears. Meanwhile, the Browns will be left staring at empty promises again, wondering how they let another star slip through their fingers. We've seen this script too many times, from Colt McCoy to Brady Quinn to Baker Mayfield. It feels like the franchise just can't stop fumbling quarterbacks, whether by rushing them too fast, sticking with the wrong guy too long, or failing to recognize when someone special walks through the door. But Shedeur isn't like the rest. He doesn't need rescuing, he needs unleashing. And right now, the Browns are holding the leash so tight they're choking their own future. They can either start doing right by Shedeur Sanders or keep playing their slow-motion PR game until trade requests trickle in and the narrative flips from hidden gem to Cleveland fumbled again. One more practice. One more viral throw. The moment to act is now.